So, Bhavik is telling us we are live and we should consider starting to talk about our events at the
Okay, wonderful. So,
So how are the preparations at the ashram?
good, really wonderful. We've done, there's been a lot of work been doing all winter that Fred and Richard have been doing in preparation, and now we're getting the hall ready because some of the things that Guruji suggested we make changes for in the hall, the big hall. So it's
Yes.
going well, and the staff are coming in slowly. We have some volunteers coming in from South America right now. We have some from Brazil, Portugal, France, Japan. So it's really nice.
Truly an
And
international center.
yeah, it's good. So I just want to welcome everyone to the Hangout, and I just want to give a little background on my Part 1 Art of Living teacher, for those people who don't know. Dr. Bharti Verma is a practicing family physician in Halifax, and she's was one of the, with Christian G, helped to start Shri Shri Yoga and helped form the basis for the Art of Living Foundation. Her and her family have been integral to the movement of the Art of Living Foundation since the 80s, and just a great person. I feel like part of their family.
Nice.
So,
Nice to have you as part of my family.
very lucky. So, Bharti, let's just start and talk about the beauty of Guru Purnima.
The best festival the year round. It is the most wonderful time to be, particularly at our ashram, and come together with so many people from around the world and just be there in the presence of our own beloved Gurudev and just celebrate. You know, it's Guru Purnima is one time to sort of look back and say, what have I accomplished myself in the last year? And then celebrating those accomplishments and then building the goals, you know, the focus for next year. What is it that I now want to do for myself? What would I like to do for my community? What would I like to do for people around me, my friends, my family?
That's so beautiful. I completely agree with everything you're saying. Bharti ji, could you explain to us, from your perspective and all the years you've spent with Guruji, why do we need a guru?
Why do we need a guru? You know, if you look at the word guru, currently in Western culture, guru means someone who's an expert at something. So, you know, people will talk about the guru of business, guru of particular skills, say computer skills, etc., right? But guru is much more than that. You know, my understanding of a guru is someone who is truly himself, someone who lives the talk, someone who walks the talk that he talks about, someone who shows you by example how to really and truly be happy, how to live in the moment, and how to just be in this world and take care of yourself, how to take care of all those around you.
That's
So,
amazing.
you know, there are so many teachers in the world, right? There are so many people who teach you. And if you look at the Hindu scriptures, they say your first guru is your mother. Because mother takes care of you, mother actually takes you by the hand and she shows you, this is your father. Hmm? So she is the first one to start you, to teach you to eat, to talk, to smile. And then the Father takes you by the hand and he teaches you how to walk, how to learn to live in this world. And then as you get older and you go to school, then you have teachers in school. And so many more teachers come along. But you know, Guru is someone who is a composite of all those gurus around the world. So all those, like a mother, he will protect you. Like a father, he will guide you. Like your best friend, he will laugh with you when you are rejoicing. And he will be there to hold your hand when you are suffering in sorrow. He will be there to guide you. So that to me is someone, that is the role of a guru. That is what I see in my guru.
Could you share some stories of the highs and the lows, Bharti ji, that you've had with Guruji? You know, the examples of this, you know, that you've had in your own personal life of him being there when.
So really the highs, I mean, every Guru Purnima that I've celebrated is the highs. You know, every time I have succeeded, he has been there for me. And when you talk about the highs, and you know, my very first Guru Purnima memory is that of, I think it must have been 1989, 1990, when we did the very first, oh no, the second advanced course in Art of Living. The very first actually happened in Nova Scotia. It happened not very far from Halifax, but the second one that happened, it was at Bishop's University in Sherbrooke, just a couple of hours away from where our current ashram is. And that was the very first silence course and the very first Guru Purnima that we celebrated with Guruji. And I think maybe there were about 60, 80 people there. And I thought, wow, so many people. And then when we look back to WCF just this last March, and you look across the acres of ground and you see, wow, so many people. So the expressions have not changed, but the wow gets bigger. So that very first Guru Purnima, you know, it was just amazing. And in those days, you did not learn Kriya in your level 1 course. You learned Kriya in your advanced course. And so that was my very first Sudarshan Kriya. And what an experience that was. And just to be there with Guruji on that night. So that particular Guru Purnima, it was like all the other Guru Purnimas that we have all been to, where there's a lot of celebration, there's good food, there's amazing knowledge, there's singing, chanting, sharing. And that day, though, it was a little bit different because around 9:30, everything finished. Most people had gone to sleep. And there was just me and Krishanji with Guruji. And there was one elderly couple there. It was a Dr. Verma, who was an Ayurveda doctor. He was there with his wife. And you know how skillful our Guruji is. Huh? How skillfully he says to you, good night, you should go to bed now.
That's the bad part.
Just like that, he asked this elderly couple, he said, it is time, you know, it's very late at night now, you should go to bed. And so the elderly couple took their leave of Guruji, and so there was just Krishanji and I sitting there at Guruji's feet. And he just looked at us and he recited a verse from Mira's bhajan, a couplet. And that couplet was so beautiful. And I don't know that it made any sense to me at the time, but this year when I was starting to think about my Guru Purnimas, and all of a sudden I remembered this couplet, and I couldn't help but feel so grateful for the blessing that he gave us that night. And that couplet was, Anajala siicha siicha prema bela boy, ab to bela fell gayi, jane sab koi. So, and then, you know, after he said that, he just looked at the two of us, and you know how he throws his head back and he just giggles a little bit. That's exactly what he did. And we looked at each other and we smiled at him. And soon thereafter, I said good night. Krishanji stayed on. I said good night and left because we had our two little kids there with us as well, and I needed to be with them. But that night's blessing, I could not fathom that night. But now I understand. And yes, Mark, my family is very big.
The whole world.
The whole world. You were all there at WCF, right? You were there at WCF. You saw all those people there. And any time you needed any help, I think each one of us has a guru story to tell, right? Do you have one of those guru stories, Mark, from your WCF?
We had many stories from the World Culture Festival. I'm trying to think of the best one. I think the best one is we just woke up one morning and we really went to see Guruji so badly, and we went to the hotel where he was staying, and people were saying he's not coming down, he's not coming down, he's not coming down, he won't see you guys, he can't see you guys, he's too busy, he's too busy. And we were just in the lobby for a couple hours waiting, and then he's not coming down, he's going the other way, and we just were sitting there, and he just walked down, and he walked right up to us and said hello for about 5 or 10 seconds, and it made our whole trip to India. It made it all worth it. It was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. It was very, very beautiful.
Yeah, it's so amazing when you want to be with him, or when you want to hear something from him, somehow or the other, you get a message, or some word comes from someone that says, by the way, you know what Guruji says? And all of a sudden you know that he knows that you want to hear from him. Right?
Bharti ji, is there any, stories you can tell about Quebec, the Quebec Ashram from Guruji?
Yeah.
How he chose the land, why he chose the significance of Quebec, all of these things.
It's so interesting because, when the people who were looking for the land, so Krishanji was one, then there was Janice Avulet, and there was Ganesh, Robert, and these people were looking for land, and Janice actually said that she had found this land, and then they got together, they went to look at the land, and lo and behold, there is this 200 acres of land, and someone had actually started just recently to pave the roads there. And this man, when he found out that we were looking for the land, he sold the land to us. And when he met Guruji, he said, yes, I knew that someone was looking for this land, and I was waiting for you to come. And he had actually just very recently started to pave the roadways into the land so that people could go inside these hundreds of acres of land and actually start to do something with it. So it was an absolutely amazing story that land was just waiting for us to go and find and start to build an ashram there. So
Mr.
that was
Mr. Bouillet.
Mr. Brett, right? And that was 1989, 1990 that we found the land. And the very first time that we went there to that land with Guruji, so there were about maybe 10 or 12 of us, and then Guruji was there, and we all stayed at Floribel, and then we went around the ashram to look at it, around the land to look at it. And it was very nice. And that was the spring, and that summer he decided that he would actually do a course there. So where the main kitchen is now, where Isha is, that is where we actually pulled a big tent. In that tent we cooked. Guruji gave us the course, and in that tent at night we slept. And he would do yoga nidra at night and put us all to sleep right there in the kitchen. When the cooking would be happening, he would actually come to the kitchen and he would help cook, and he would serve us. It was, I can't tell you how much care he took of us. And the following year, we had a course again there at the ashram, and by then, that little kutir Sumeru was built. That's where Guruji stayed there. So that was one level. On the main level he stayed. It was like his living room where he would stay, and there was a loft up there where he would sleep. And so there was a little ladder, one of those not a proper ladder, one of those hanging ladders that you could climb up on like you do in your houses in the forests, in your campgrounds. And he would just climb up there, and he would go and sleep up there in the loft. Anyway, that's where he stayed, and the course happened in a yurt, which I believe, is it still there, Mark, the yurt?
No, it recently went to yurt heaven.
Okay, so the yurt was there until very recently. I think maybe even as late as last year or the year before. It was there, and we did our children's program there. But that's where he taught the course. That's where a lot of us slept. And he would worry in the nighttime if the weather was too cold, and if we were too cold, he would worry, are we sleeping well? Are we warm enough? Are we eating properly? Just like a mother would worry about her children. And I remember particularly one night was very cold and windy night. And that day when I went and took his breakfast there, he said to me, that was a very cold night, wasn't it? You were all so cold. And yes, we were all so cold. And he said, I didn't sleep all night either, worrying about you. And that was so touching to think that he was thinking about how we were through the night. So lots of good stories back then. But he hasn't changed one little tiny bit. Even now, like you're telling the story of how he came and saw you guys and he spent time with you just to make you feel that he is still thinking about you. Just like that in every satsang. There may be thousands of people there, or there may be just a few people there, but everyone still feels like this talk is very special to me. Hasn't that happened to you, Mark?
Every single time.
Every single time. And it's like he's talking to you personally. Like, this is the message you needed that day. Right? Right. So he's just so amazing. Whether there are 5 people or 5,000 or 500,000 people, he still has that same concern for each of us, and he still relates to each of us just the same.
It's so fun to think about when he comes to the Canadian ashram and he's there, and when the walk back and forth from his kutir down to the meditation hall is always so magical, because people can, you see people talking to him and their eyes light up because they get to see him for 5 or 10 seconds each, but that, they get to ask all the questions. It's really beautiful.
Yes. You know how Guruji says that there are 3 definitions of yoga. Well, I think all those 3 definitions of yoga are alive and well in him. You go and sit next to him for a few minutes. What happens to you? You have hundreds and thousands of questions to ask him. The moment you go and sit next to him, what happens to your questions, Mark?
They go away.
They all go away. And what is it you feel like? You feel like meditating. Your mind is quiet. You are happy. There's a big smile on your face for no reason. And all you want to do is close your eyes and meditate. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how skillful is our Guru? Whatever big problem you think you have, and you take it to him, and he will just look at you, and he'll look at the people around you, and he'll say, why did you discuss it with these people? Why don't you do that? And why don't you go here, or why don't you go there? And lo and behold, before you know it, the problem has gone away, and you've got a huge project in front of you. Has that happened to you ever?
I've seen that happen several times to several people, including myself.
Right. And, as I was saying, back in the old days when he first came to Halifax, for example, and there would be maybe 8 or 10 people there in the discourse. And he would just smile and he would say, you know what? Don't worry about it. I bring my audience with me. And he would smile. And we would think that he meant that we were all there. And so we would sit there, we would listen to his talk, and we would listen to him. And he would give us the deepest of knowledge that he still gives when there are 5,000 or 500,000 people there. And it would be done with the same interest, with the same care that he did. And we think that problems only come to us. But problems also come in his life. Look at WCF. Week before it was going to happen, what was happening, Mark, in Delhi?
Not many good things.
Not many good things. In fact, everyone was saying that this festival is not going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did he do? Did he stop smiling and did he stop working at it? Absolutely not. And when it went through, did he say, oh my God, yes, we can make it happen? Did he do that? He said no. And even more important thing, right after the WCF, we had come back home. And on the 19th of March, these were the ending ceremonies of WCF. And when I saw the gathering and the fact that he had all these musicians playing there and all these interfaith people had come and there was this huge festival happening, and I said, oh my God. I mean, you would think that after such a huge event in Delhi, Guruji would decide that, okay, it's time to take it easy for 3, 4, 5 days, and then we will have a big event. Did he do that? Absolutely not. And so when I talked to him later that day on the phone, and I said to him, Guruji, do you know what it means to rest? And he said, why? And I said, you've got such a huge event that happened there at the Bangalore ashram. And do you know what he said?
I love the note.
He said, I didn't do it. It's all these volunteers who are doing it. Can you believe that? That he would say that it is only the volunteers who are doing the work? Just wow. So amazing, right?
So Bharti, we're coming to the end of our hangout.
Mm-hmm.
This has been so beautiful. I love talking to you about Guruji, Guru Purnima. It's always been so nice over the years to listen to you and Krishnji talk about this. What would you say to someone, who's just thinking, should I go? Should I take a course? What should I do? What would you say to those people?
Of course you should go. You know, you can learn a lot by listening to knowledge. You can learn a lot by watching the live webcasts. Absolutely you can. But you know, there's a saying in Hindi that the river comes to the edge of your village, but it will not come right to your home. So when the divine has taken the step to come so close to you, he has come all the way from India, from all the way around the world. Thousands of people around the world want him to be with him, but he chose to come and be with you. Take one or two steps. Go a few miles. He's come thousands of miles. You come a few miles and you be with him. And you will see what it is like to bathe in the Ganges. You can see Ganges on Google all the time. You can see beautiful pictures of Ganges. But to actually hear the sound of the water, to feel the coolness of the Ganges, you have to be at the feet of Ganges. So
Nice.
to gain the knowledge and to feel that coolness of the grace, the beauty of that wisdom, and to dive deep into the depth of that grace, you have to be there. This is one chance you get, once a year perhaps. So don't lose the opportunity. It's so amazing to have a living master to guide you. We all have the examples of masters who have gone before us. And it's very easy to bow down to those masters who have gone. It's very convenient because you can do it whenever you have the time. But if you are really ready to dive deep into the knowledge and to really take care of yourself, then this is your opportunity. All those masters of the past have come in this beautiful form to be with you, to take care of you. Come and be with him.
Wonderful, amazing. I want it to be tomorrow. So Bharti ji, just before we end, there's some people that are asking some questions in the Hangout about where do I do seva and how do I reach the venue, food allergies and housing and what should I pack, and I want to just quickly tell these people they can go on the website and send a note, and the email is info.july2016@artofliving.ca, info.july2016@artofliving.ca for all those practical questions. If anyone would like to, anyone has those questions, and I would just like to say thank you on behalf of everyone for this wonderful hangout, Bharti ji. Very amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I hope to see all my family there.
Jai Gurudev.